Hello world, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora Stefrak, and today I'm kind of just going off the hop here, but I do have a little bit of guidance. I wrote down some questions that I just wanted to touch base on, which this has created momentum for me to create an online course that I've known within me that is going to be created for a long time, but I just haven't had the capacity to be able to really anchor it into the physical reality right now because it's a lot. Okay, so, but I've been inspired by all the chaos in our external reality to just come on real quick and to share a bit of my wisdom and the way that I'm dealing and processing a lot of the pain that's coming up, the suffering, the injustice. So, yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick and kind of just, I don't know, maybe give a little bit of comfort, give a little bit of guidance, give a little bit of stability possibly to you, your power. I'd like to hand you your power back, really, I guess is the goal here, because there's so much that we can be doing. It's just not what we've been taught doing to look like, if that makes sense. So other people might not understand you and understand your path and understand what you're doing, or believe me, many people don't understand me, and I'm totally cool with it, right? Because I know what I'm doing, and I know my mission, and I've taken my power back, and I know where I'm being guided to, and I know the power and the purpose and why I've lived the life that I've lived, because it's brought me to this point where I'm able to now speak my truth, stand in my power, guide people, hold space for people so that they're able to become that themselves, right? Fully embody their authentic self and heal. Okay, so that's really like the main message, I guess, for today, is that I want you to be able to look around you and be triggered. Allow yourself to be triggered, but don't be reactive. Okay, so get under it. One of my mentors says that triggers me sometimes, and I'm like, whatever, screw you. I don't want to get under it. I don't know what that means, but you know what? At the end of the day, she's right, and you have to get under it, and you have to understand it, and you have to figure out what it is and why it is triggering you, and what, like, there's nothing happens without a purpose. Everything is purposeful. The universe is on purpose, okay? So, when external circumstances are triggering you, they're showing you unhealed aspects within yourself, which is also a reflection of the collective, of the human conscious collective, okay? So as we heal ourselves, we are actually healing humanity, okay? So I'm just going to read out here just some questions that I wrote down to, like, get the ball rolling for this video. So the first one I have is, how do our triggers, and then I put in brackets emotions, because that's really what a trigger is. It's triggering an emotion within you. So how do our triggers lead us to a higher understanding? Okay, so just to give like a quick example, like if something makes you angry, if something happens and it triggers within you anger, and you're like, wow, how can somebody do that? How can somebody say that? How can, you know, and you're like fueled up because now you're angry. Well, instead of being reactive and like the people right now that are going and rioting and creating more chaos and creating more destruction, maybe sit with yourself, slow down, ask yourself, what's this anger trying to show me? Well, it's unjust. Why is it unjust? What is this leading us towards? How is our external world showing us and guiding us back to wholeness, back to our authentic selves. That's what this is all about, you know? So it's like, why am I angry, for starters? Well, there's a boundary that has been crossed, most likely, and you feel powerless in a way, or you feel your power has been taken, or other people's. It doesn't have to necessarily be your power, but if you're seeing other people being mistreated and mistreated and beaten and raped and whatever it is that's going on that's triggering within you, what is that showing you? So that's pretty much, it'll bring something up for you, and I don't know what that is for you, but it's for you to navigate and understand and heal and integrate. So as we have that higher awareness of why things are making us angry, and we have more of a grounded approach, then we can start navigating through that comprehension to be able to hopefully be able to show up in the world in a grounded, centered, and peaceful way. So instead of being reactive and just being angry and going and smashing windows and doing whatever, all this crazy shit that people are getting up to these days, we need to slow down. We got to take a step back, and we got to say, okay, whoa, how can I show up in my most whole and authentic self from my heart space? Because fighting chaos with chaos is just going to create more chaos, right? So we have to really step back from all of this for a minute, take us out of our heads, which is where most of us live, and get into our heart space and ask, why do I feel this way? What is this showing me? And how can I grow from this experience? How can I grow from this? And how can I integrate this pain into strength, into knowledge, into wisdom? And that's how we can use our triggers, our emotions, to lead us to a higher understanding. And it's just about allowing for this to guide our next steps, okay? So the universe will speak loud and clear if you choose to listen. So if you're choosing to listen and receive these messages instead of just, like, oh, I'm so angry. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not okay with a lot of the stuff going on in the world right now. But I have to figure out, how can I not perpetuate that energy, and how can I sit here in my safe space, because I've created a safe space. Let me mention that you also need to create a safe space for you, which is so that you're able to actually process these emotions and figure out what they mean to you and what they bring up. And side note, this will probably bring up a lot of like inner child stuff, so like stuff that happened in your upbringing, and you'll understand. This is all about understanding you, okay? Because if you can understand you, then you can understand your place here, and you can understand your purpose, and you can then navigate from that space instead of just all this chaos swirling around, not knowing what to think, not knowing what to feel, and just like being brought over here, and your attention being everywhere, and you just don't know where to even begin. So I guess this video is really to give you a beginning, to your healing, because that's what all of this is showing us. Okay, so our external reality is a reflection of our internal reality. Okay, so what's going on out there in the physical is a reflection of the collective human consciousness. Okay? And what that means is that things that are playing out in the real world, in the physical, is just a runoff of the energetics that is here right now. So instead of feeding into that energy and constantly perpetuating it, we have to do something different. We have to shift it. We have to choose to take our power back, and that's by getting to know who the fuck we are and why the fuck we're here and what our purpose is. And in doing that, we're going to be creating, because just so you know, all foundations are crumbling right now. So once they're crumbled, what's going to exist? Well, we have to create it, you know? So all of these structures that are crumbling at the moment, this is all happening because they were not sustainable. There was no foundation. There was nothing to hold it up. So inevitably, it crumbles. And that's what's going on right now. That's what all this chaos is. All the injustice, all the wrongfulness, all of this stuff that's going on is showing us. It's the same on a collective level as it is on a personal level, the microcosm to the macrocosm, okay? So we have to bring an awareness to what is going on instead of just reacting and being reactive and really just consciously choosing to shift and to learn. So, yeah, I feel like I've repeated myself a bit there, but I just really want to get it across because it's so important. Okay, I only ended up reading one because that brought me on a little tangent. So then, well, I've probably hit on most of these now. So, what is all of this chaos showing us? That's my next point that I made. Okay, so it's like, how do our triggers and emotions lead us to a higher understanding? And then how can we understand what the chaos is showing us? So like I just said, if there's injustice, if there's boundaries being crossed, if there's people being mistreated, all of these things are of course going to trigger us because it's not okay. And this stuff has been going on for like the entirety of like humanity, okay? So now we're at a point where we're just like seeing it clearly again, you know, because everything's been brushed under the rug. Well, 2020 is not about that, okay? Everything's being revealed right now. So that's what's going on. This chaos has always been here, and it's just been a little bit more muted and a little bit less in our faces. But now the rug's been pulled. We can see everything that's going on. Everybody's waking up. This is a mass, global, collective, conscious awakening. Like, this has never happened in human history because we've never ascended to the fifth dimension before, which I'm not even going to get into all that right now because that's not the point of all this. But you just have to understand what this chaos is showing us. It's a reflection. It's a reflection of what is going on a collective level. Okay? Okay, and then what is the purpose of these events unfolding in our physical reality? Again, like I just said, as within, so without, as above, so below. So what is going on down here is a reflection of the energetics, I'll just leave it at energetics surrounding the planet. So we're being plunged with all this higher energy, all this light energy, and all of us light beings, all of us higher frequency beings that have consciously chose to embody this frequency to raise the consciousness of humans and the earth, so that we can ascend, is I just got a message and I lost my train of thought. So what is the purpose of these events unfolding in our physical reality? Okay, anyway, I'm just going to throw that out because I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, long story short, there's so much going on right now energetically, so just understand that there is a purpose to all of this. I guess that's where I want to end that now. Okay, so, and then how do we use our triggers to guide us and not allow for sheer reaction? Okay, so it's about getting under it. It's about understanding why I'm feeling this emotion, questioning, being curious instead of just like letting it take over you so that you have no control anymore. Like, you have to take that control back, rein yourself back in, say, whoa, who am I? What do I believe? Not what does my friend believe, or not what does my mom believe, or not what does the government believe, or what does this person believe, or what does my coworker believe? What do you believe? And how is that influencing your life? Do you even know what you believe? Do you even know where you stand on all of this? Because that could be part of why you're feeling so chaotic and so lost and so confused as well. So bring an awareness to that. What are your beliefs? What do you believe? Okay? And then how do we become receptive instead of reactive? So we become receptive instead of reactive by bringing a conscious awareness to everything around us all the time. So it's something that you have to build up. It's not something that you just, well, I want to be conscious, so I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be conscious. Well, yes, it can go that way, but you're going to fall out of that conscious behavior. So then you have to bring yourself back, okay? So it's just about always falling out of consciousness and choosing to come back into a conscious awareness, okay? So it's like reacting, okay? So it's like you're so used to reacting all the time. So now you have this new awareness and you say, oh, I don't have to be reactive all the time. How can I choose to be more receptive? Okay, so you're going to do something that's reactive, but it's about taking that and choosing to recognize, oh my God, I was just reactive. Now, how can I, instead of beating yourself up about being reactive, you just observe it. And you just say, oh wow, that was really interesting. And just really become the observer of your actions, of your thoughts, of your emotions, and start learning the language of what it is to be you and how it is for you to show up in this reality. So that's how we can be receptive instead of reactive. It's just by keep bringing us back to our alignment and back to our center, back to our belief system. And that's why you have to be really conscious of your belief system and what is in alignment with your integrity and your authenticity. Okay? And then how do we understand and make sense of our place in it all? We do that by getting to know who we are. Like if I didn't know who I was, I wouldn't know to be talking about all this stuff. I wouldn't know, like, this is who I am. This is what the rabbit holes that I've gone down and that I've wandered, and I'm such an advocate for healing because it's just so important. And like, what else are we here for? To keep suffering? Well, we've been here for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of suffering, and it's about time that we choose to step out of that and learn the lessons from it and grow. So how do we understand and make sense of our place in it all? You get to know who you are. You get to know your belief system. You get to know your shadow self. You get to know your light self. You get to know what you love. You get to know what you're drawn to, because that's who you are. There's a whole conversation I could go into with all that, because there's the wounded aspect of ourselves and there's the healed aspect of ourselves. So we have to be conscious again of what it is that's guiding us, okay? So keep coming back to you. Keep coming back to how you feel, and keep coming back to trying to get a deeper, which will be a higher understanding of who it is to be you and why you're here and your purpose. So that's how we understand and make sense of our place in it all, is just simply by getting to know who the fuck we are. Okay? And then how can I make a difference? That's my last point. So how do we make a difference? By embodying and integrating our highest self, by following our heart and tapping into our heart and letting it lead us, because that's who we truly are. We truly are. That is our highest, most authentic self, is when we're living from the heart space. Right now, most of us are living from the head space, so it's confusing. It's depressing. It's like all of these thoughts and all of the possibilities and this and that and la-di-da are constantly, and we're not even actually in our bodies. So we're up here the whole time. So we have to learn to anchor it down into our body, all of who we are, which takes a lot of time. Well, time, it's irrelevant. Intention and healing and choosing to keep coming back to you instead of going out and sharing all this crazy chaos and all these articles and all this fucked up shit that's going on in our world right now. And we have to trust there's a greater purpose. So keep coming back to you, and whatever it is that you're looking at and that you're attracting and that you're going out and finding in this world, really start getting under it, start digging, start trying to understand it, start bringing an awareness and a comprehension to why these things are coming up into reality. What are they showing you? Start asking questions. But always remember to come back to your heart space, because again, if I say keep asking questions, you can stay in your head space for so long, but we have to learn to anchor and go down to our heart space and listen to our heart space. Okay? So yeah. Oh, here. What are emotions is on this side of the paper. So actually I do want to tap on that real quick. So emotions are our guidance system. They're telling us what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and we've been programmed through our experience of just being human, for what's good and what's not. Like, that's our navigational system, and that's why I was talking about the wounded aspect. So it's like, if we're always avoiding our wounds and not wanting to acknowledge them and heal them, that's when we make decisions that aren't necessarily for our highest good. When we want to sit there and we really want to dig deep into why we're hurting and why we're feeling this pain and why we're suffering, that's where the healing begins. It's not from avoiding. Healing doesn't come from avoiding at all. So we have to really sit and love that side of us. Love that anger. When you feel that anger, love it. And how do you love it? You listen to it. You really sit there and listen to it and see where it's coming from. Because maybe you got beat up as a child. Maybe this happened. Maybe that happened. Maybe you just got bullied in the schoolyard all the time. So this is triggering all of these things from our previous experiences that we've chosen to suppress and not look at. And, oh, I don't want to look at that. Oh, no. Let's just keep going over here and not looking over here. And then, like, that's also when we get into the chaos as well, because we really don't know who we are. Okay? So let your emotions guide you. Let your emotions show you the way. Okay? So stop hiding from them. Start listening to them. All right? Cool. That's all I got to say today. Thanks for tuning in. Lots of love.